Live from New Delhi, you're watching DD India Live, India's voice to the world. I'm Tanvi Taneja. Coming up in the next 30 minutes. Suspicious vehicle linked to Delhi car blast case found at Faridabad's Al Falah University. NAAC issues show cause notice to the varsity for displaying false accreditation on its website. President Draupadi Murmu prays for the early recovery of the injured in the Delhi car blast. Witnesses symbolic handover of 8 cheetahs from Botswana to India. US President Donald Trump signs the bill ending the longest government shutdown in history, restoring federal pay and essential services. In a landmark move for global conservation, Botswana today handed over 8 cheetahs to India, symbolizing the deep friendship between the two nations. President Draupadi Murmu and Botswana's President Duma Boko witnessed the ceremony at Mokolo Nature Reserve near Gaborone. The cheetahs are now in quarantine ahead of their transfer to India under Project Cheetah, aimed at restoring the species after its 1952 extinction. With 26 cheetahs already thriving at Kuno, Botswana's donation marks a major boost to India's wildlife revival efforts. President Draupadi Murmu addressed the Indian diaspora in Botswana on Thursday a short while ago. She began her address by expressing grief over the Delhi car blast that took place on Monday.
दिल्ली में हुई खुद दुखद विस्फोट शायद आप लोग सुने होंगे, देखे होंगे टीवी पे। मैं मरे गए लोगों के परिवार और मित्रों के प्रति अपनी हार्दिक संवेदना व्यक्त करना।
Rewriting the story of friendship between India and Botswana, the 8 cheetahs that have been donated by the government of Botswana to the people of India is going to come to India within the next 45 days is what we pick up. From the people that are looking, in fact, will be looking after the cheetahs from here on. They are now being sent into quarantine. Their medical examination will be taking place from here on after the formal handover have taken place this morning. We have already shown that visuals to our viewers. The enigmatic cheetahs running on the fields here in Botswana had mesmerized all of us that were witnessing history unfold. And, the friendship of India and Botswana being rewritten. So, of course, there are in fact, a mix of all adults as well as, cubs. I don't mean to say cubs, but, infant cheetahs as well as some adult cheetahs, a mix of both will be coming to India. There will also be few females as well as males. They will be relocated to, of course, the Kuno National Park that already houses several other cheetahs, 26 of them as of now. The earlier cheetahs had come from Namibia and South Africa, but these 8 cheetahs coming from Botswana will bring in a variety of the breeds in the cheetah. And therefore, expecting that the cheetah community in India, thrives in the forest of Kuno as well as in other parts of India where they will be relocated in subsequent times. So therefore, this project gathers much significance on the visit of the President of India. In fact, this is the first ever visit of the President of India or a head of a state to Botswana. We have seen the President of Botswana as well as the Indian President, having a great camaraderie, rewriting the friendship, talking about how both the countries are culturally very close. A lot of Indian diaspora do stay here. So therefore, this event, which marked a historical event, in fact, which we witnessed this morning, is going to reshape the India and Botswana relationship. And as you had earlier asked as well, the cheetahs will be in India anytime in the next 30 to 45 days.
All right, we'll leave it here. Thank you very much, Dibendu Mondal, reporting from Gaborone, Botswana. Al-Falah University in Faridabad is already under the scanner in connection with the ongoing Delhi car blast investigation. In the latest update, a suspicious Brezza car was located at the Al-Falah University, which is now being investigated by the Jammu and Kashmir Police. The National Assessment and Accreditation Council, NAAC, on Thursday issued a show-cause notice to the university for allegedly displaying false accreditation information on its website. The notice read, "It is brought to the notice of NAAC that the Al-Falah University neither accredited nor volunteered for Cycle 1 for ANA, finding the real addresses." Lieutenant General Dheeraj Seth, Param Vishishta Seva Medal and General Officer Commanding-in-Chief of Southern Command, reviewed the operational preparedness of Konark Corps during exercise Akhand Prahar in the desert sector. This forms part of the Tri-Services exercise Trishul. The drill validated full-spectrum combat readiness through integrated use of all arms and services, including mechanized and infantry maneuvers, land operations by Rudra Brigade, special heliborne operations, and coordinated attack helicopter missions by Army Aviation. Seamless synergy with Indian Air Force featured fighter ground attack missions supporting land forces, indigenous drones, counter-drone systems, and electronic warfare grids, and enhanced battlefield transparency and precision highlighted India's self-reliance. General Seth commended the professionalism and joint excellence of all units, affirming the Corps' evolution into a modern, agile force for multi-domain operations. In a major anti-Maoist operation success, security forces neutralized 6 Maoists in an encounter inside the National Park region of Bijapur district in the central Indian state of Chhattisgarh. Officials confirmed that those killed include Kanna, alias Buchanna, a Maoist carrying a reward of 8 lakh rupees and known to have played a key role in spreading violence and threats in the area. The operation, jointly conducted by the Chhattisgarh Police, District Reserve Guard and the Special Task Force, is being viewed as a significant move towards breaking the remaining operational chain of Maoist cadres in South Bastar. A light truck crashed into a market in South Korea on Thursday, plowing 150 meters along a passageway lined with stalls before coming to a halt. As a result, 2 people were killed, 18 injured, according to emergency officials and media reports. As per officials, the incident took place at a market located in Buncheon, about 20 kilometers west of the capital, Seoul. 2 people who had suffered cardiac arrest were later confirmed to have died. Bangladesh's International Crimes Tribunal on Thursday announced it would deliver the verdict against ousted Prime Minister Sheikh Hasina and 2 of her former top aides on Monday, November the 17th. The date was set by a 3-member judicial panel of Tribunal 1. They said the verdict pertains to alleged crimes and these crimes committed during the July mass uprising last year, which led to widespread violence and political unrest prior to the fall of the Awami League government in August. Alongside Sheikh Hasina, former Home Minister Asaduzzaman Khan Kamal and former Inspector General of Police Chaudhry Abdullah Al-Mamoon were also charged. Al-Mamoon later became an approver in the case. The tribunal had concluded trial proceedings on October 23rd. You're watching DD India Live, still to come on the show. Germany is trying all sorts of tricks, including keeping older people on the job longer. 84-year-old U.S. civil rights leader Jess Jackson hospitalized in Chicago. And Russia's first AI robot falls face down on stage during debut show lineup.
The big battle for Bihar. Who will cross the magical figure of 122? Will the NDA manage to hold, or will the Mahagathbandhan make a mark? What did Bihar vote for in 2025? Who will be the next chief minister? For these and a lot more, tune in to DD India on Friday, 7 a.m. onwards. The big battle of Bihar.
Welcome back. You're watching DD India Live. I'm Tanvi Taneja. President Donald Trump on Wednesday signed the legislation ending the longest government shutdown in U.S. history, roughly 2 hours after the House of Representatives voted. Trump's signature on the bill, which cleared the Senate earlier in the week, will bring federal workers idled by the 43-day shutdown back to their jobs starting today, although just how quickly full government services and operations will resume is unclear. It would extend funding through January 30th, leaving the federal government on a path to keep adding about $1.8 trillion a year to its $38 trillion in debt. The U.S. House of Representatives passed the spending bill that will end the government shutdown with a 222 to 209 vote. U.S. House Speaker Mike Johnson called the recent government shutdown utterly pointless and foolish, accusing Democrats of using Americans as leverage in a failed political tactic.
I want to say that all this was utterly pointless and foolish. This outcome was totally foreseeable. I said that this would be the outcome when all this began back in mid-September. They did it anyway. Democrats admitted that they used the people as leverage, and they got nothing for their selfish political stunt here. They didn't achieve anything with this at all.
The Kremlin said on Thursday that Ukraine would have to negotiate with Russia sooner or later and predicted that Kiev's negotiating position would get worse by the day. Moscow, whose forces are trying to take control of the city of Pokrovsk in eastern Ukraine, has accused Ukrainian officials of refusing to engage in peace talks. Kiev says Moscow's terms to end the conflict are unacceptable. Kremlin spokesman Dmitry Peskov said that Russia remained open to a political and diplomatic settlement and wanted peace.
Russia truly wants peace. Russia is open to resolving the Ukrainian problem through political and diplomatic means. But in the absence of such an opportunity, when the doors to this are closed by the Kiev regime, we continue the special military operation. The main thing for us is to ensure our safety, ensure our interests, ensure safety of our future generations, and fulfill the tasks that lie ahead of us.
Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky visited frontline troops in southern Zaporizhia, meanwhile on Thursday inspecting the 65th Separate Mechanized Brigade near Archery. He reviewed enemy activity and occupier losses as Russia advances in the nearly 4-year-old war. Meanwhile, Russia claimed 2 more villages in Kharkiv and the Dnipropetrovsk regions, while Kiev fights to retain Pokrovsk. Moscow recently seized 3 Zaporizhia villages in partially occupied areas. Zelensky honored soldiers despite a corruption scandal involving associates, fueling public outrage amid wartime exhaustion. German Chancellor Friedrich Merz and Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky have discussed an energy scandal that has engulfed the latter's government on the phone, the German government said in a statement on Thursday. Zelensky pledged complete transparency, long-term support for independent anti-corruption authorities and further swift measures to regain the trust of the Ukrainian people, European partners and international donors, the statement said. Further, Zelensky on Thursday ordered sanctions on an associate and former business partner accused of a major corruption scandal. The move comes a day after Zelensky fired his energy and justice ministers over a giant money laundering scheme in the energy sector. His office published a decree imposing personal special economic sanctions on Timur Mindik, a 46-year-old businessman, that include a freeze on his assets. The decree also sanctioned another businessman, Alexander Zuckerman, and ordered their state awards to be revoked, assets frozen, and imposed travel and business restrictions. France is marking a decade since the November 13th, 2015 terror attacks that killed 130 people back then. Vigils were held across the city and the iconic Eiffel Tower was lit in French colors. The mayor of Paris and the survivors gathered at the Place des Républiques Square, paying tribute to those lost in the coordinated shootings and bombings claimed by the Islamic State group. President Emmanuel Macron is set to visit all attack sites before a memorial ceremony, highlighting France's unity in the face of horror. European lawmakers voted on Thursday to weaken a landmark set of EU environmental and human rights rules as part of a business-friendly push against red tape that has split the bloc's parliament. This is a move to amend the legislation on corporate sustainability to limit the number of companies covered and remove some of their obligations secured backing from centre-right and far-right parties, with 382 votes in favour and 249 against. In a vote on Thursday, the European Parliament determined that only companies with at least 5,000 workers and 1.5 billion euros, that is equivalent to $1.75 billion turnover, should comply and remove the need for them to set out their plans to meet climate change commitments. Also, the EU launched an investigation into Google on Thursday over suspicions that the US giant is pushing down some news outlets in search results. The European Commission said it had found indications that Google is demoting news media and other publishers' websites and content in Google search results when those websites include content from commercial partners. EU also announced a probe into energy drink maker Red Bull over suspicions that the Austrian company gave monetary and non-monetary incentives to customers, including supermarkets and fuel stations, to curb sales of rival energy drinks. And on to Germany now. In an effort to prop up the economy, Germany is trying all sorts of tricks, including keeping older people on the job longer. Lars Holte is with DW and joins me from Berlin now on the story. Lars, thank you for being with us. What's behind this latest move by the government?
Thanks for having me. Well, it is mostly intended to solve one of the problems holding Germany's economic recovery back, the lack of skilled labor. Now, before we're getting into the details, one should know that in Germany, the retirement age used to be 65 and it's currently being lifted to 67. But still, even at 67, the government thinks that maybe not everybody should retire. The reason is purely demographic. Germany has a relatively old population with an average age of almost 45. Compare that to some other places. In Africa, for example, the average age is just under 20. In India, the average age is just under 29. And generally, that means that lots of young people are coming into the labor market, sometimes more than are retiring. In Germany, it's quite the opposite. The baby boomer generation is currently retiring. There are not enough young people coming into the labor market. And even with immigration, we can't currently make up what we're losing.
Okay, Larsen, what is the reaction of the seniors then?
It's actually mostly positive given the government's latest efforts. Berlin has adjusted the law to make income for retirees tax-free up to 2,000 euros a month. Now, that made a huge difference. Making extra money in retirement used to lead to an adjustment in retirement benefits that fell away a few years ago. But making this additional income tax-free might cost the government revenue, but it does seal the deal for many of those people. They want to keep on. A survey just found that 53% of Germans between 60 and 70 would be willing to consider working a few extra months or years, and that gives us a bit of a breather. However, in the long run, given the demographic realities in Germany, the country will need more young people in the workforce, and that means we'll have to get better in bringing in qualified immigrants and giving them jobs faster and easier.
Okay, thank you very much, Lars Holte, for all those updates. Let's now take a look at other stories making news around the world. U.S. civil rights leader Jesse Jackson, 84, has been hospitalized in Chicago for progressive Supranuclear Policy, the Rainbow People United to Save Humanity Push Coalition said on Wednesday Jackson, initially diagnosed with Parkinson's disease, has managed the condition for years. A key figure in the civil rights movement, he worked with Martin Luther King Jr. and founded the Rainbow Push to continue King's legacy. Truffle hunters across Europe are facing growing challenges as climate change threatens the rare white truffle Tuber magnutum pico, which grows only from September to December. Finding one can take about an hour, even with a well-trained dog, that requires a year of preparation. Hunters now use truffle treats for dogs to boost their focus, blending tradition and innovation to protect this prized delicacy. And Russia's first AI-powered humanoid robot, Idol, stumbled and fell during its debut in Moscow on Tuesday while attempting to wave to the audience. Two assistants quickly helped it get up. Developer called the fall a learning experience, noting that the robot is 77% Russian-made with a target of 93% and can walk, handle objects and communicate. And time now for some sporting action. The stage is set at the iconic Eden Gardens in Kolkata as Test cricket returns to the venue after 6 years. Shubman Gill-led India will take on Temba Bavuma South Africa in the opening test of the two-match series on Friday. Team India, currently third in the WTC standings with a 61.9 points percentage, will look to strengthen their position and move closer to a spot in the 2027 WTC final at the Lords. The return of the vice-captain, Rishabh Pant, adds solidity to batting lineup featuring Shubman Gill, Ravindra Jadeja and Washington Sundar, with Mohammad Siraj and Jasprit Bumrah leading the pace attack. For South Africa, skipper Temba Bavuma will rely on experienced campaigners like Rabada, Aiden Markram and Keshav Maharaj to challenge India in their own backyard. The second test will be played in Guwahati from November 22nd. The reigning world test champions are known for fiery paces historically, but are currently armed with one of the most potent spin groups in world cricket. India's archers delivered a stellar performance at the 24th Asian Archery Championship in Dhaka, clinching 2 gold and 1 silver medal. The compound women's team comprising Deepshikha, Jyoti Surekha Vennam and Prithika Pradeep claimed gold in a thrilling final against South Korea. Meanwhile, Abhishek Verma and Deepshikha teamed up to win gold in the compound mixed team event, overcoming Bangladesh in a closely contested final. Their precise shooting and strong coordination ensured India's second gold of the day. In another strong performance, the compound men's team of Abhishek Verma, Sahil Jadhav and Prathamesh Fuge earned silver, narrowly losing to Kazakhstan in the final. And the schedule for the 2028 European Championship has been announced. Cardiff will host the opening match on 9th of June with the final scheduled in London on the 9th of July. The tournament, co-hosted by England, Scotland, Wales and Ireland, will run across 9 venues in 8 cities. It will feature 24 nations involving 51 matches. Belfast has been chosen to host the Euro 2028 qualifying draw on 6th of December next year. And organizers unveil the schedule for the 2028 Los Angeles Olympic Games with spotlight on the women's 100 meters competitions and a Super Saturday session. The competition starts with the opening ceremony on 14 July and ends with the closing ceremony on 30th July. The biggest ever games will feature 11,200 athletes in 51 sports across 49 venues. Every team sport will feature an equal or greater number of women's teams for the first time, with 50.5% of the total athletes being women. On day 1, the most number of women's finals ever will be contested, starting with triathlon, with the spotlight on the women's 100 meters competitions. It means that women athletes must run 300 meters heats in one day. The Super Saturday, scheduled on 29 July, includes 26 final sessions in 23 sports, including 15 gold and bronze medal team matches and finals in 15 individual sports. American flag football and squash will make Olympic debuts on 15th of July. Cricket rejoins the Olympics after more than a century, with the women's final on 20th July and the men's final on 29th July. Baseball and softball will also return to the Olympic Games. That's all for this edition of DD India Live. Do let us know your thoughts on the news of the day. Connect with us on our different social media handles at DD India Live. And you can also join our DD India mobile app for quick news and updates from India and the world. We'll be back with more news as it breaks here on DD India. I'm Tanvi Taneja from all of us here in New Delhi. Thank you for watching. Namaskar.